We're going to begin with the clashes at universities across the country.
Palestinian encampment at Columbia still there today.
If you do not leave, you will be arrested.
Over 40,000 dead! You're arresting us instead! You're arresting us instead!
It's so easy to get tired, isn't it? Tired of the constant negative news, your social media outlets being overrun by tragedies and activism. There's so many solutions to a problem that those in power refuse to solve. And we have a lot of problems.
The migration that we're seeing happening at the border right now is unsustainable. We are not managing it, and it is overwhelming our existing immigration system.
The U.S. spends about twice as much on healthcare than other large and wealthy countries do.
A growing national problem that could take decades to fix.
Although a recent CBS News poll found that 54% of Americans want stricter laws covering the sale of guns, there's still a stark divide along party lines.
America, the land of the free, unless you're a person of color, a woman, disabled, indigenous, gay, trans. But even so, as a Mexican-American woman, I have privilege. I live in one of the most expensive areas in California and the entire country. I have an education. I have a roof over my head. I don't worry about what I'm going to eat every day. I have a phone. I have Wi-Fi. I have it good. But my privilege means nothing if I can't use it for the greater good. What am I doing right now? I've been rotting in bed the majority of the day. Ironically, I worry about my grades and passing my classes. I'm tired all the time, and in my brain rot, I scroll through TikTok. My For You page is overrun with news about what's happening in Gaza. I can't pretend to fully understand what's happening, but does it really take a genius to understand that this is a genocide? I think frequently about something taken from Sir John Bagot-Globe's book, The Fate of Empires and the Search for Survival. According to his book, empires don't last longer than 250 years. Obviously, there's many ways to disprove this, as if you see it past civilizations, many have lasted many, many centuries. July 4th, 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the United States as a country, and it begs the question, will we as a country continue to decline until we fall apart? In this lifetime, will I witness the collapse of the country I was born in? I'm not sure. Sometimes I feel like my brain is melting. I feel hopeless. I don't want to get out of bed or check my phone or talk to anyone. I just want to exist and be a blob that just exists in the universe. Sometimes when I see videos of dogs, I think about how nice it must be to not have to think so hard about life. They just exist and we adore them. Do they ever get tired of that? I think what gives me hope is watching the older kids in my generation, the ones who are putting themselves in the line of fire to stand up for what's right. Columbia University, UCLA, Yale University, UCSD, they're all fighting for humanity.
It's our responsibility, it's our moral obligation to stand up for Palestine. And so all of our students, along with me, none of us here are scared to be arrested. None of us are scared to be suspended.
You need to stop bombing. You need to stop indiscriminate killing, massacre of Palestinians in Gaza. That's how you end the war.
We're calling for divestment. We're calling for a ceasefire.
Students inside the encampment told NBC News they were unaware of any physical or verbal threats towards students on Saturday night.
Anyone who makes any threat to any Jewish student, we oppose you. We do not associate with you.
I became more conscious of the issues in the world around me during the pandemic when the news was practically overrun with bad news. Sitting at my desk and watching the Black Lives Matter movement, it made me feel weird. Not in a sense of discomfort, but because I was just watching. I didn't know what to do other than inform myself of what was going on, but there's so much misinformation on the internet and on traditional news outlets. It's hard to tell sometimes what exactly the situation is. I feel a little ashamed that I'm less vocal about politics than I was when I was 14, but I'm much more aware now that being vocal isn't always a good thing if you don't understand what's going on. and engaging in petty discourse is not helping the situation. Hope is what keeps me going. Graduating high school and going to college has made life seem so much more serious, and I'm hyper aware of how fast I grew up. In the age of the internet, we're not really allowed to be kids. In a world of constant tragedy, mourning, anger, and sadness, it's really not that easy to have a positive outlook on life. I still don't know exactly how to effectively participate in these social movements because I can't stand to see what's going on all at once, these terrible things that are happening, but where do I even start? When I see these movements, they're happening everywhere but in my local area, and I feel disconnected. I think as I move on into the next phase of my life, I'll have more opportunities to become a part of these social movements. I'm a part of Gen Z, a generation of change and compassion in the midst of chaos.